Tonight, as coronavirus cases continue to rise, health officials plead with the public about social gathering sizes. Plus, taking care of veterans in a time of crisis. We'll take you to a drive-through COVID clinic. And later, changing times mean a pair of Canyon Ferry campgrounds will never be the same.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News from Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for making us a part of your Wednesday. I'm Tim McGonigal. First at 5:30, Montana has crossed the 1,000 mark for COVID-19 cases today. As of this afternoon, the state had 340 active cases. Currently, 14 of those patients are hospitalized. The data comes on the heels of the state completing more than 2,400 additional tests. 687 of the 1,049 cases since March are considered recovered. Lewis and Clark public health leaders had a clear message for the community today: avoid large gatherings. They say they're not advising any gatherings of more than 50 people at this time, and that all events should be limited to an absolute maximum of 250 people. Larger gatherings are supposed to work with public health on a plan to ensure social distancing. The agency has received more than 30 plans for upcoming events, but leaders say they're concerned some aren't sufficient or are too difficult to implement.
We are social beings. We want to be together. It's summertime in Montana. We want to do the things that we've always done, but it's not the time.
We can do our part, and it's so easy to do, because what we need to do is just wear our masks for each other.
The leader said they have linked several recent cases in the Augusta area to a nearby wedding, and they're concerned that cluster may continue to grow. Public health is urging people to wear masks when they are out in public and continue physical distancing. Well, the Montana VA healthcare system is offering COVID-19 testing for asymptomatic veterans across the state. The service is being offered at 13 different locations. Veterans will stay in their vehicle to be tested. If they do test positive, they'll be notified within 30 days by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. The VA will contact veterans if they test negative. All visitors to a VA facility are required to wear a face covering and will be provided one if needed. The clinic manager for the Northeast region tells us they just want to do what's best for their veterans.
It's definitely a big need in the veteran community. Our veteran patients have been asking to be tested because they take great care of themselves, and they want to ensure that they are protecting their loved ones in addition to ensuring that they're COVID negative. This provides them, asymptomatic veterans, the opportunity to be tested for the COVID-19.
Now, there are more opportunities for veterans to get tested. In Great Falls, the testing continues tomorrow afternoon from 1:30 to 3:30 at 1417 9th Street South, Suite number 200. And in Helena, there's a drive-through clinic on Tuesday, July 7th from 10 to noon at Fort Harrison. Well, a little bit later on in the show, we'll be talking with Aaron Yost from our sister station in Missoula about weather. But first, the Bureau of Reclamation has changed the names of 2 Canyon Ferry campgrounds that some find controversial, offensive, or racist. MTN's John Riley has more on the change and the reaction from area residents.
Tape covers the lettering on the signs of former Chinamen's and Confederate campgrounds on Canyon Ferry Reservoir. For the time being, the Bureau of Reclamation sites are called Campground 1 and Campground 2. A notice on recreation.gov says the agency is working to, quote, confirm a new and appropriate name for the campgrounds. On Wednesday, MTN spoke with 24 campers and Canyon Ferry residents about the name change. The vast majority did not want to go on the record, but each one disagreed with the name change. Many people, like Canyon Ferry resident Mel Barber, were worried the history of the area would be lost.
I don't understand it because it's been Chinamen's for well over 50 years. The one that done the first mining there, they done the first hydraulic mining there, and they took a lot of gold out of there over 100 years ago.
Chinamen's Campground was named after the substantial Chinese populations working and living in the area throughout the 1860s through the 1890s. In 1864, a group of former Confederate soldiers found gold in the Big Belt Mountains by present-day Canyon Ferry. The area became known as Confederate Gulch, and the campground was named for the area. People we spoke to also expressed frustration with the government not asking the residents their thoughts on the matter, and hope they can be involved in the new names for the campgrounds.
Well, I think if they're changing the name, the people should be able to vote on it and name it themselves what they feel comfortable with, not with what the government tells us we have to live with.
Reporting from Canyon Ferry, John Riley, MTN News.
We've reached out to the Bureau of Reclamation. We'll provide an update once they've responded to our questions. Republican gubernatorial candidate Greg Gianforte, who made millions on the 2012 sale of a software company he co-founded in Bozeman, has released 10 years worth of his income tax returns today. Gianforte says the disclosure sets an example of the openness and transparency that he'll bring to state government if he's elected this fall. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison tells us more about the details on Gianforte's $184 million of income during that period.
Gianforte released his family's state and federal income tax returns from 2009 through 2018. During that period, he reported $184 million of gross income. A huge chunk of that amount, almost $138 million, was from capital gains, including $123 million in 2011 and 2012. That's when Oracle Corporation paid $1.8 billion to acquire Right Now Technologies, the software development firm that Gianforte and his wife Susan co-founded in Bozeman in the mid-1990s. Right Now had grown into an international firm with 500 employees in Bozeman. Another $29 million of the Gianforte's income during the period came from interest and dividends paid on various investments. On their income, the Gianfortes paid about $30 million in taxes over that time frame, $23 million to the feds and $7.3 million to the state of Montana. Together, those taxes are about 23% of the Gianfortes' federal taxable income and 16% of their overall income. The records also show that Gianforte benefited handsomely from Montana's capital gains tax credit, which saved him about $2.7 million in state income taxes over 10 years. And finally, the Gianfortes reported giving $41 million to charity during the period, including funds for their family foundation, which has handed out an additional $70 million in grants since its establishment. Gianforte released his tax returns when he previously ran for governor in 2016. That year, he lost a close race to Democratic Governor Steve Bullock. This year, he's running against Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney, who says he plans to release his income tax records in 2 weeks. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
The Gianforte campaign also released tax records from his running mate, Great Falls attorney Kristen Juris, and she and her family reported about $1.5 million of income over the last 10 years. Well, we're learning more about the victims in a triple homicide in Olney on Tuesday. According to the Flathead County Sheriff, Brian Haino, the victims are 42-year-old Emily Moeller, 41-year-old Cody Nevins, and 3-year-old Piper Barge. Investigators believe 39-year-old Cameron Barge stabbed them to death. Barge is the ex-husband of Moeller. Barge was found dead about a half-mile away from the home with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Sheriff Haino says a 7-year-old, whose name hasn't been released, was able to escape the scene and run to a neighbor's home. Haino said they're treating this case as a triple homicide and suicide. All 4 people who died have been taken to the state crime lab in Missoula. Well, it's deadline day for nonprofits who depend on income from specialty license plates. We'll have more on that story when the 5:30 news continues.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 5:30 news continues on Montana's News Leader.
Welcome back. Today's the deadline for nonprofits in the State Motor Vehicle Specialty Plate Program to have at least 400 plates registered, and those that fall below the minimum will be cut from that program. MTN's Alexi Aguayo has more.
So we made the cutoff, which is a huge relief for us, because that typically is between $5,000 to $7,000 a year for us.
The Lewis and Clark Humane Society was one of many organizations scrambling to have the minimum 400 specialty plates registered to maintain their membership with the Motor Vehicles Division. In February, MVD granted an extension period for organizations to reach 400 plates by July 1st. The division said they will release the results next week. However, the Humane Society is happy to announce they reached the number and sold 409 license plates, but not without generous support from the community.
And we had people who went and waited in line for 5+ hours just to get our plate because they knew we needed it. We had people who were offering to pay the fees for other people just so they could get our plate, because they support us and they care about us and they love us. So I think more than anything, we were floored and blown away by how amazing and supportive our community just continues to be for us.
In Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTM News.
Well, in early June, the Paris-Gibson Committee named Judy Erickson the winner of the 11th Paris-Gibson Award. And today, Erickson received her honor with a tree planting ceremony. Erickson, who moved to Great Falls in the 1960s and was given her award based on her dedication and volunteerism to the city of Great Falls. She's best known for her investment in teaching pottery and art, running the library program at the Flathead County Detention Center, and assisting in various humanitarian efforts through the YWCA and her church. Erickson's tree was planted at West Bank Park next to the trees of previous winners. Dozens attended the event, and Norma Ashby of the Paris-Gibson Committee said the crowd was likely the largest she'd ever seen for the tree ceremony.
It means so much to have folks turn out. One of the hardest parts of this pandemic is that we are separated from each other. And to have an event like this where we can practice the proper use of our masks and staying separated, but we can be together. We can hear the laughter, hear the voices. People are having a good time, and I'm glad for that. I have a real sense of family in Great Falls.
Erickson's $500 check for the award will be donated to the Great Falls Symphony Quartet and Quintet. Well, for some veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder, the 4th of July holiday can pose some significant challenges to their mental well-being. MTN's Sam Hoyle reached out to Departments for Veterans Affairs to see what resources are available to veterans and what family members and the community can do to keep them safe.
For most people, fireworks are a spectacle or an annual tradition. For veterans who struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder, they can be a trigger.
Explosions, firecrackers that can replicate gunfire.
Doug Stepina is the suicide prevention coordinator for the Montana VA healthcare system and a veteran, and said during this time veterans with PTSD should take a step back and evaluate their situation to determine how to proceed during the 4th of July holiday.
With veterans, I'd recommend let's look at where you're going to be. How well do you cope with it? What are your own responses? What are your own awareness? And I say that as a veteran because it's something that I pay attention to. For some, it's a matter of, I need to get out of town during this time because it's just too much. While others are, yeah, I can go enjoy the fireworks with my family, but that doesn't mean that extra increased alertness and awareness isn't there. They just have been able to develop the skills to manage through that.
Stepina also said a support system is extremely important, whether it be family, friends, or neighbors, and urged people to avoid lighting off fireworks at random times of the year.
When they're not expecting the fireworks, how they might react. Some of the symptoms are going to be increased nightmare as well. If you're dead asleep and have this loud explosion that goes off, that might look like a veteran who's jumping out of bed and kind of crumbling up in the corner because it just created a flashback of an experience they had. So this can be for those who do have these strong experiences, it can be a very hard and difficult experience to be able to bounce back from. Just be cognitive and aware of the time frames that you're setting off fireworks, as well as the areas that you're setting them off.
Reporting in Helena, Sam Hoyle, MTN News.
Well, it looks like some showers and thunderstorms are in the forecast for the holiday weekend. MTN's Aaron Yost has those details coming up next.
Thanks.
Hi there, I'm meteorologist Aaron Yost. We have seen a lot less rain showers out there today compared to what we've seen over the past few days in central and southwest Montana. Still, though, the radar pretty active across our part of the Treasure State. We do have a southwesterly flow in the region that's kind of kicked up some moisture. Most of the day, though, obviously seeing a lot of sunshine, a few clouds from time to time. But just to the south of Great Falls, south and the east, you've got this line of showers and embedded thunderstorms that continue to move towards Fergus County. bringing with it some small hail, obviously some lightning, and we are getting some brief heavy rain along with gusty winds at times. So far, nothing severe warned this evening. We're going to continue watching this, though, over the next few hours because we do have an isolated chance of seeing a severe thunderstorm warned, particularly in the area shaded here in orange. So this is for the rest of this evening. So if you have any outdoor plans, you might want to keep that in mind. This was a shot just a short while ago from our iCam in Helena. You can see a little bit of some of that buildup, the cumulonimbus clouds out there to the right-hand side of your screen. We do continue to see that all over central and southwest Montana with some sunshine mixing in as well. Great Falls, here's a look at our iCam roughly 45 minutes ago. This again in the Great Falls area. Now temperatures across the Treasure State, that's been another story today, rebounding nicely. We're at 70 in Great Falls. That is our high for the day so far, but still 11 degrees below average. Helena, or 9 degrees, excuse me, below average. Helena, our temperature right now 68. We did hit 70 briefly. That is 11 degrees below the norm, but you can see sort of the rainbow of colors of temperatures across the Treasure State at this hour. This is a lot warmer though than we were exactly 24 hours ago now that we got rid of that potent system. Winds a bit breezy out there today for sure. We're going to hold on to that into tomorrow as well. Right now generally out of the west at about 15 miles per hour for both Great Falls and Helena. Overnight tonight, most of us dropping into the low to mid 40s. We will see partly cloudy skies here for the overnight hours and maybe some lingering thunderstorms, especially further off to the east as we head into the early morning hours tomorrow. Here's a look at our future track. So we're going to play it out 24 hours into the future, and you can see in this southwesterly flow, we get rid of those showers and thunderstorms, and by tomorrow morning, we've got a lot of clear skies for us here in central Montana. Tomorrow looks like a fantastic day. A bit breezy at times, but we're going to see so much sunshine, and we're also going to see those temperatures on the increase as well. Look for about 76 in Townsend, Bozeman at 78, Helena 77 along with Harlowton. I'm sure a lot of us probably hitting the road tomorrow, if not on Friday, getting ready for all those camping trips for the 4th of July weekend. Weather's going to cooperate with us for tomorrow once you start off those festivities. Furthermore, though, as we move into your Friday, we're going to start that time frame off on a quiet note, but by late in the day, a southwesterly flow is going to kick up again, and then this will be a little bit more active for sure. We are going to see that severe threat once again for us here. Isolated severe thunderstorms possible there in the orange shade on Friday afternoon. The rest of the 4th of July weekend, honestly, not too bad, but we are going to see the potential for some late day showers and thunderstorms. So that's something to consider if you have those outdoor plans, which I'm sure a ton of us do. Daytime highs are going to range from the mid 70s to the low 80s for this weekend. Early next week, that southwesterly flow keeps things a little active.
Thanks a lot, Aaron. Well, the minor league baseball season has been officially canceled. So what does it mean for Montana teams? We'll find out next.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 530 News continues on Montana's News Leader.
Welcome back. Minor League Baseball officially announced the cancellation of the 2020 season Tuesday. MTN's Tom Wiley caught up with the Great Falls Voyagers to find out where the club goes from here.
Great Falls Voyagers general manager Scott Reasoner knew a cancellation of the 2020 minor league baseball season was on the horizon, but that didn't make Tuesday's news any easier to stomach.
Always a bummer, they've been professional baseball in Great Falls, hasn't missed a season in over 50 years. So, just taking one on the chin with COVID-19 like a lot of folks are. And
the Voyagers have spent the last few weeks reaching out to sponsors and season ticket holders as they make the transition to a summer with no baseball.
Most people have been great in understanding. If anyone wants a refund or folks that want to roll it over to 2021 or look at some packages that we have this year with the event schedule we have going on.
While the Voyagers won't take the field in 2020, Centene Stadium will still see plenty of use. Reasoner and staff have started the Save Summer series with things like kickball, movie nights, trivia nights, and more on the docket.
But having people reach out to us and our sponsors and the community support at large has really been tremendous. You're not maybe sponsoring a baseball game, but you're sponsoring a cornhole tournament or a movie night or something a little different, and it's been a lot of fun, and the response has been tremendous.
The future beyond 2020 is uncertain. Major and minor league baseball are engaged in contentious negotiations for a new agreement starting in 2021, and the Voyagers are one of over 40 clubs in line to lose their affiliation.
We're beyond confident that we'll have professional baseball here in 2021, and obviously that could be a different form, so look in different ways. We still can't make a schedule because you don't know what your league is, you don't know what's going on, so it's a really challenging time here in baseball in general. We're better off than a lot of teams and a lot of people you talk to around the country just because that community sport of Great Falls.
And while many teams across the country are shuttering operations, laying off staff, and cutting payroll, the locally owned Voyagers are committed to their employees and providing a community outlet for the summer.
You know, we made the move forward to try to be an asset for our community this summer. When there isn't a lot going on, we have the space that we can do small events very safely, and then also to keep our staff working.
Tom Wiley, MTN News.
And for a link to the full schedule of summer events at Centene Stadium, you can go to montanasports.com. We'll be right back. Well, listen up, dog lovers. The American Kennel Club is introducing a new breed that can compete in its shows. It's the Belgian Lacanois. The breed is known for its rough tousle coat and is athletic and energetic, which helps them excel at canine sports. Unfortunately, thousands of dog shows have been canceled this year, so the Lacanois will not be able to compete soon. But we look forward to seeing them in the future. We look forward to seeing you in the future on the MTN News at 9 on the CW, and then right back here at 10 o'clock. Until then, have a great night.